For years, the whole Jeffrey Epstein story was just this web of rumors and so many unanswered questions. But now, with millions of documents from his own computer finally released, we're starting to get some real answers. Let's dive in.
So let's start right here with this public statement from Elon Musk. He's one of the most powerful people on the planet, and his statement seems totally clear, right? A firm no. But this quote, this is the perfect way to understand the heart of this entire scandal, the massive gap between what powerful people say in public and what they do in private.
Yeah, but see, this is what Musk was writing to Epstein in an email. And get this, it was just a few years after Epstein's first conviction. The files show he wasn't just refusing an invitation. He was asking for one, specifically for the wildest party, and trying to coordinate travel. And the key thing to understand here is that this isn't just about one guy's hypocrisy. Oh, no. It's a pattern, and it is absolutely damning.
Musk was far from alone. What these files show, over and over again, is this stunningly consistent pattern. People saying one thing in public while doing the complete opposite in private. And this was practiced by some of the most influential people in the world, long after everyone knew what Epstein had done. Take Bill Gates. Publicly, he's basically saying, yeah, that was a mistake, but it wasn't about that kind of stuff. But then you dig into the files, and you find this incredibly disturbing email drafted by Epstein. Now, we have to say it's uncorroborated, but just read it. It feels like a blatant blackmail attempt, referencing very personal, sensitive details. It just shows you the kind of leverage Epstein was trying to get over these powerful figures. Or how about Howard Lutnick, the current U.S. Secretary of Commerce? He publicly claimed he cut all ties with Epstein way back in 2005, said he'd never be in a room with that disgusting person again. But the files? They tell a very different story. In 2012, he was flying to Epstein's island for lunch with his wife and kids, and he co-signed a business deal with him that same year. The contradiction is just, wow.
And the sheer scale of this network is just staggering. This was not a couple of bad apples. This number, over 4,000. That's how many times Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel, appears in the files. 4,000. This wasn't some casual acquaintance. We're talking about dozens of meetings, staying at Epstein's New York apartment so often that it became a running joke among the staff. So the inner circle that's stuck by Epstein after his conviction, it really does read like a who's who of global power. We're talking tech billionaires, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, former prime ministers, Oscar-winning filmmakers, even White House legal counsel, famous scientists, British royalty, you name it. This network touched basically every pillar of Western society. Okay, so this just raises a huge question, right? How? How on earth did a convicted sex offender not only avoid any real consequences, but continue to build this elite network right out in the open? Well, the answer really starts when you look at his whole life, which was basically one long story of getting away with things. He got a job at a prestigious school with no college degree. He got caught up in shady dealings on Wall Street, but just kept climbing the ladder. And then, of course, there was that infamous 2008 sweetheart plea deal, where he served just 13 months in a county jail and got to leave every single day for work. And it wasn't just him. He had powerful institutions propping him up. And that brings us to this idea of a financial enabler. It's basically an institution that keeps providing the financial plumbing for criminal activity even when their own employees are raising red flags. And the poster child for this? JP Morgan. The bank processed over $1 billion for Epstein, and they did it for over a decade, knowingly providing the financial engine for his entire criminal enterprise. So we've seen the who and a bit of the how, but the real question is, why does any of this still matter so much? Because these files are way more than just a record of one man's horrific crimes. They're like a mirror being held up to the very systems that control our world. This quote really hits the nail on the head. It argues that this scandal shows us a level of wealth and power where the normal rules just don't apply. And the takeaway is chilling. Maybe the system isn't broken. Maybe it's working exactly how it was designed to work, to protect those at the very, very top. And this is the part that should really get to all of us. This wasn't some shadowy conspiracy happening in secret. No, it was a system operating in plain sight, where the very people who write our laws, build our technology, and control our finances all looked at a convicted predator and just decided he wasn't a problem. But look, as shocking as all these revelations are, this story is nowhere near over. What we've seen might just be the tip of the iceberg. And that leads us to the biggest, most important question of all. What are we not seeing? Just look at this chart. It tells you everything you need to know. We've had millions of pages released, right? But it's estimated that around 70% of the files are still redacted, blacked out, or just completely withheld from the public. What we know is absolutely dwarfed by what we don't. And the official response to all of this? The Department of Justice has come out and publicly said they found no co-conspirators, and they will not be pursuing any more charges. So despite all the evidence of a vast trafficking operation, they are formally closing the book on it. No more accountability, case closed. So here we are. The files have shown us who stayed. We've seen the public lies and the private realities. But that leaves us with this final lingering question. With the vast majority of these documents still under lock and key, who exactly is being protected? And what is the full story that we're still not being told?